Wayne Lukas. He and thoroughbred racing are linked forever. He is either revered or reviled. He had sunk to the depths only a few years ago, but the flair has returned, and Wayne Lukas is now the most recognized figure in racing, man or beast. He has regained his throne. And the star of his stable is an unlikely colt, Thunder Gulch, who began the season as the second stringer in the shadow of champion Timber Country. Winner of the Kentucky Derby and Belmont Stakes, he now has emerged as a contender for Horse of the Year, leading the resurrection of Team Lukas. But another horse has his eye on Horse of the Year, the brilliant 5-year-old Cigar, winner of 10 races in a row, but virtually unknown to the general public. Trained by the unassuming Bill Mott. Not good enough for the marquee events of the Triple Crown earlier in his career, Cigar has become a world beater by a simple switch of racing surface from grass to dirt. And now it is Lukas that is the challenger.
Billy and I are very good friends, Billy Mott, and I'd be the first to congratulate him. On the other hand, he has to go out there and prove it against the best 3-year-old in the country.
I think we're both very competitive, and, you know, hey, I'd like to go out there and kick his butt on Saturday.
Beginning today, a 2-race series for Horse of the Year, with the winner galloping to greatness. The sweeping expanse of Belmont Park on Long Island, an historic center of American racing and scene of Breeders' Cup Preview Day. It's a dark and misty afternoon, but the main track still labeled fast. Bill Mott had anticipated an easier spot for Cigar's attempt at an 11th consecutive victory in today's Jockey Cup Gold Cup. He thought the ultimate showdown wouldn't come until October 28th in the Breeders' Cup Classic. But Wayne Lukas changed all that. Thinking his colt needed another race before the Classic, Lukas invaded Mott and Cigar's home turf with his brilliant 3-year-old Thunder Gulch. And the race for Horse of the Year is on. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Belmont Park. I'm Tom Hammond. This is a huge day, a day when the eyes of the whole world are focused on New York. Why? Well, virtually every divisional leader will be in action today. Oh, by the way, did I mention the Pope is also in New York, and it's also the 50th anniversary of the United Nations. Well, anyway, the eyes of the racing world are on Belmont Park. 5 Grade 1 races on this Breeders' Cup Preview Day. Important events in their own right, but also prep races for Breeders' Cup Day itself 3 weeks from today here at Belmont Park. Now, here's our lineup. We'll be bringing you 3 races live today, beginning with the Turf Classic, A-Wad against the European Invaders. Then, the Moet Champagne Stakes for 2-year-olds, featuring the leading juvenile colt in America, Hennessy. And then we wind up with the Jockey Club Gold Cup, Cigar against Thunder Gulch. We'll also have taped coverage of 2 races, the Frizette Stakes for 2-year-old fillies, Can Anybody Beat Golden Attraction, and the Beldame Stakes, as Heavenly Prize squares off against Serena's Song. Then as a bonus, we'll go live to Santa Anita for the final West Coast prep for the Breeders' Cup Classic, the Goodwood handicap, Soul of the Matter against Tinner's Way. And we're pleased to announce there'll be no regional coverage today. You can see every race right in your area. Pleased to welcome trainer John Veach with us again. John, of course, is based here at Belmont Park. And the big question has been, with all the rain this week, how will the track play, specifically here, the turf course? Earlier, we saw a 65-to-1 shot Mighty Forum upset in the Kelso Stakes. How's it going to play here?
Tom, it's going to be very crucial for the European horses. They're going to have a real plus here. On Thursday, the skies just opened up, and in 24 hours, we had over 2 inches of solid rain here. That turf course is now labeled soggy and very soft. It is really a bog. To give you some idea, the really cracked sprinters running a mile on the turf course ran 7 seconds off the track record. That's so slow that that's 35 lengths. That's almost 1/8 of a mile that they were behind from a standpoint of this turf course had been fast.
And as we hear the call to the post in the background for the Turf Classic, let's check the odds. We have a field of 8 with 2 scratches, and we'll run down them for you now with A-Wad, top grass horse in America, at 8-5. Turk Passer, early speed, 14-1. King's Theater was scratched. Celtic Arms is 6-1. Privity, one of 2 3-year-olds in the field, 14-1. Tuesday special at 13. Tikkanen, he won this race last year and the Breeders' Cup Turf. He's at 9-2. Hernando, Cash Asmussen aboard. European Invader is 3-1. Reefapor, the other 3-year-old, 13-1, and Next Endeavor was scratched. And there's a look at Awad. Awad's last 2 wins have been grade 1 wins, including the Arlington Million, his last one. Then he won in June the Early Times Manhattan Handicap here at Belmont Park. He does like soft going. He's going to get that today, but he also needs a brisk pace to run at with his late charging style, and whether he'll get that or not remains a question. Well, despite a pretty spotty performance, I must say, in the past, we have invited our special handicappers back with us, Bob Newmeyer and Mike Battaglia. Guys, what about the Turf Classic?
Spotty performance? What happened to that $80 cold exactor and the 2-year-old juveniles with Eltish and Timber Country and a $600 trifecta?
With Hammond, it's what have you done for me lately? You
know, John talked about the soft turf today, Mike, no doubt about it. But the other distinguishing characteristic about this race, the lack of a solid speedball. Turk Passer is the only speed of the race. I just don't think he's enough quality to take these wire to wire.
You know, I don't think he's got the quality either, but I can't leave him out of my exacta. I think that he's the only horse that will be going to the front, so I got to throw him in.
Well, I have to use him.
I'm going to go for Tikkanen. A couple of reasons. There's a couple of horses there that I think could run well, but Tikkanen improves in the fall. If you go back and look at him last year, he really got good coming into this same race. He won it, went on to win the Breeders' Cup Turf. He handles the Belmont turf. We saw that last year over this turf course, and I really think that he needed that last race. He came in here. I think he was just a short horse. He can handle the 1.5 miles. He looked good to me coming on the racetrack. And with the lack of speed, I think he'll be a little bit closer than closers like Awad and Hernando. I'm going to give a slight edge to Tikkanen.
Well, he's a grand-looking gray, no doubt about it. But, Mike, soft turf, Tikkanen, I don't think so.
No?
Sure, the pace scares me, but Awad is the now horse. He's very sharp, and that's the reason why I'd have to vote for Awad in this race at 1.5 miles. He certainly was excellent in the Arlington Million. He's in top form. He handles the distance well. He's won 2 races here at 1.5 miles, including one at Gulfstream on a similar surface. Honest as the day is long. First or second in his last 5 races. Yes, I am scared about the lack of pace. This is a strict come from behind, off the pace horse. But Awad looks razor sharp on the racetrack. But there are others, Mike. Europeans, always got to respect them.
You really do, because John Veach made the point that the Europeans handle the soft turf course a lot more frequently than the U.S. runners. So they do have a slight edge there. Horse like Hernando, if he runs his best race, I definitely think he could win it. Here we go picking 4 or 5 horses. Hammond's going to holler at us for
Hernando's last race was a disaster, but on past form, very tough to beat. Tuesday's special, not without a chance. Should be a good one again. We'll watch that pace very closely here at 1.5 miles. Let's throw it back to Tom.
All right, guys, true to form, they picked about 5 or 6. I don't know, I'm not sure. But I think it was Tikkanen and Awad that were their selections, but I'd keep an eye on Hernando under Cash Asmussen. Well, it was the night of January 25th, 1990 at Jim Ryan's farm in Maryland when a newborn foal was lost. Then just a few hours later, a bay colt was safely born. It happened that there was a house guest at the farm, Mubarak Awad, his name meaning the one that comes next will be stronger. So Jim Ryan gave his new colt the name Awad. Awad's trainer could pass for the man next door, but in fact is a protege of the great Woody Stevens, and he has found Awad to be strong indeed.
I'm David Donk, and I train the horse Awad. That's won 3 grade 1s, and the most recent, the Arlington Million, defeating some of the best grass horses in the country. It's a $1 million purse, 60% to the winner, which is $600,000, and my cut is 10%, so $60,000. So it's a pretty good payday. I haven't spent any of the money from the win from the Arlington Million. We have one project, and that's to buy a house, so we're in the process of doing that. So I guess everything else is on hold. The morning of the race, if you ask anyone in the barn, I'll be quite nervous. Maybe not so much on the exterior, but definitely, you know, inside. I think the other horses have a little bit to prove to deserve a shot to go to the Breeders' Cup. Regardless of where I run, that's where I'm going next.
So coming up, David Donk will send Awad to the post as the 8-5 favorite in the Turf Classic. We'll be back with a race. Is Awad. He is at 8-5. Last jump puts him down now to 6-5 odds. Hernando and Tikkanen also getting some play. Tikkanen and Hernando each at 7-2. Greg McCarron horseback on the turf course. How is it, Greg?
He said it was soft, and I'm on the grass right now. It is very soft. I spoke with Eddie Delahousie right after the Kelso. He was far back early. He said those clods were coming back big time. They were really cutting it up. Back to you, Tom.
Turf Classic.
Final horse moving into line. Rifapur in the gate and ready for a start of the Turf Classic. And they're off. Awad bobbled just a bit leaving from the gate, and John Velasquez will immediately send Turk Passer to the lead. Turk Passer out to establish the lead, and Tikkanen will sit off him running in second. Awad is reined in the early going. Hernando takes fourth position now, and Rifapur tucks in behind that group to settle in fifth. And then it's Celtic Arms, followed on the outside by Tuesday Special, and the filly, Privity, will be the early trailer. They continue that long run into the first turn here. Turk Passer establishes an easy lead. He is clear by 2.5 lengths. Tikkanen content and comfortable running in second. Awad, usually farther back in the early going, is running third, 5 lengths from the lead. And Hernando's right alongside him. And then it's Rifapur, a break of 3 to Tuesday Special, who's under a snug hold. Privity is loping along at the back of the pack as they make their way into the backstretch. The opening half mile over this boggy going in 51 1/5 seconds. Turk Passer continues to lead while uncontested, still clear of Tikkanen, last year's Breeders' Cup Turf winner. Hernando advances to third. Awad is fourth, but he's still about 5 lengths from the lead. Rifapur comfortable over this off-going, still 6 lengths from the front. Then it's Celtic Arms, followed by Privity, and 5 lengths to Tuesday Special. Turk Passer will try to go it all the way on the lead, and he is still in command with 5 furlongs to run. Tikkanen has yet to make a run at him. Now he's being nudged along, and Tikkanen called on for a bit more. Hernando well within striking range as they enter the far turn. Awad is still fourth toward the inside with the half mile to go. Rifapur still within striking range. Then Privity. Celtic Arms is called on for his bid. He takes to the outside. Tuesday Special far behind. Tikkanen now coming after Turk Passer. Turk Passer bracing for the challenge, still holding on to the lead. Tikkanen right at his neck now as they near the top of the stretch. Hernando is there. Awad is dropping out of it now. Celtic Arms is fanned 5 wide into the stretch. Rifapur is cut loose, and the field turns for home with Turk Passer to catch. Turk Passer still there. Hernando unleashing his power at the furlong marker. It's Turk Passer weakening on the lead. Hernando coming hard. Rifapur and Celtic Arms. Turk Passer desperately trying to hold. Hernando coming hard. Turk Passer. Yes! He goes wire to wire. A cagey ride there by John Velasquez. No challengers for Turk Passer on the lead. Hernando took a run at him, but he was second best this afternoon.
So Turk Passer, the early speed, went out in front and made it all the way around to steal it under John Velasquez at 17-1. Turk Passer, our handicapper, said the only real speed in the race, and it paid off here at 17-1 for John Velasquez and for trainer Scotty Schulhofer. Let's go to Greg McCarron, who's out on the turf course. Greg?
Yeah, Tom, I'm coming up to John Velasquez right now. John, if I could get you over here, old buddy. John, it looked like they gave you an easy lead, and all you did was bide your time. How'd you do it?
Well, it was no speed in the race. I just did within, and he handled the grass pretty much, and I was a little afraid of the soft turf, and he just got away from with his slow crashings, and he came running.
He really hung on game that last 1/8 of a mile when that horse was making a run at you.
Well, he really did. You know, when I switched my whip to the left hand, and he responded for the left hand, and he just kept on running.
Again, congratulations. Back to you, Tom.
All right, Greg, a good job by John Velasquez. He had just enough left to hold off Cash Asmussen and Hernando, who were coming at him. And Velasquez, setting those slow early fractions, goes wire to win the Turf Classic. Welcome back. There's Turk Passer, only his second win of the year as the American beats the European at their own game, winning on the soft turf course, and the time nearly 12 seconds off the track record. Let's go to Bob Newmeyer with Mike Smith, who rode Tikkanen.
Well, of course, Tikkanen was the winner of last year's Breeders' Cup Turf, and your second run off the layoff here looked to me like you were in prime position to run down Turk Passer down the lane. What happened, Mike?
I thought we were too, and you know the ground's very yielding today, and like you just got done mentioning, he's coming off a layoff. I don't believe we got enough out of the first one. I just think these races should do him a lot of good.
On paper, it appeared that he was not a horse who would appreciate soft turf. After having ridden him today, would you agree with that assessment?
And certainly, you know, he never really cared for much back in Europe, and he didn't care for much here either.
So Tikkanen is a loser today here, but as far as Mike Smith is concerned,
he's getting better.
He'll be back come 3 weeks from today. Tom?
All right, Bob, and it's hard to gauge the importance of these events as the fractions were so very slow. Turk Passer paying 36.80, 16.60, 13.60. Hernando second, Celtic Arms third. Good exacta over $222. And as we said, the time of the race 2:36 and 3/5 was nearly 12 seconds off the course record. Complete order of finish: Turk Passer, Hernando, Celtic Arms, Rifapour, Privity, the two 3-year-olds, Tikkanen faded to 6th, and Awad, who was much closer to the early pace than usual, finished 7th. Tuesday special was 8th and last. Well, as I said, John, as we gauge these two turf races today, the Kelso earlier, 65 to 1 shot, 17 to 1 shot in the Turf Classic. Hard to get a line on the two upcoming Breeders' Cup races, the mile and the turf.
It really is, Tom. Basically, you can just throw these two races out and kind of look at when we have firmer ground. There are a couple of horses that really are not here that may really be a factor in the Breeders' Cup. The winner of the Arc and also a horse called Sandpit, who is out in California. We hope to have both of them here for the Breeders' Cup. If we get a little bit better weather, we'll probably have a little bit better course. But this time of year, once this course gets boggy and soft like this, when it really takes a long time for it to dry, and we may face this same kind of condition for the Breeders' Cup in 3 weeks.
All right, and of course, still to come here, the big event of the day. It'll be the Jockey Club Gold Cup 2-year-olds, and the favorite Hennessy, trained by Wayne Lucas, getting ready for the colt to come in to be saddled there with his recent good luck charm. Sports Illustrated writer Billy Reed will return to Belmont Park and Breeders' Cup Preview Day in just a moment. Entering the paddock, soon to be saddled for the Moet Champagne Stakes, the 124th running of the mile and the 16th event for 2-year-olds. Earlier today, we had a major showdown in the Distaff division. Or in the beldame. Take Serena's Song, the 3-year-old filly. She's a tough tomboy who has given the guys all they can handle and has scratched her way to the top spot of her division. But she still seeks greater glory. Champion Heavenly Prize. Serena's Song and 4-year-old Lakeway have drawn the attention of the prize's trainer, Shug McGahee.
Well, I think that probably I'd be stupid if I said that I'm glad they're in there. You know, without Serena's Song and Lakeway, it was sure going to make it a lot easier for Heavenly Prize, but anything short of a win, I'm going to be disappointed in, but, you know, I expect a good effort out of her.
Heavenly Prize is the reigning queen, last year's beldame winner and 3-year-old champion. A year later, maybe she's good enough to run against the boys in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
If I do run in the Classic, I'm not going in there with the idea that, well, we can't beat the Colts. I'm going in there with the idea that I think we've got a very good competitive chance of beating the Colts with really nothing to lose.
There's no ducking anyone for Shug and Heavenly Prize, with thoughts of the Classic if they can beat Serena's Song and Lakeway today. And as the horses came to the gate earlier for the beldame, here were the odds. On Lawful Behavior, 20 to 1. Heavenly Prize, 3 to 5 favorite. Incinerate, 20 to 1. Serena's Song at 5 to 2. And Lakeway at 3 to 1. Tom Durkin with the beldame call.
They're in the gate. And they're off, and Serena's Song bounces right out on the lead. Serena's Song to the lead immediately. Lakeway has come out running second. And farther back, it's Heavenly Prize. To her inside on Lawful Behavior, Incinerate will be the early trailer. Serena's Song striding away to a 2.5 length lead. Eddie Delahousse and Lakeway will concede the early lead. On the inside, Unlawful Behavior runs along in third, and Heavenly Prize is close to this moderate pace in 5th position on the outside. It's Incinerate. 23-4 for the opening quarter. Advantage here to Serena's Song, who is led through a mild opening quarter mile. She leads by 2. Lakeway tracking her intently. Unlawful Behavior kept close to the lead in 3rd. Heavenly Prize in behind horses is 4th as they approach the 5 furlong marker. The trailer is Incinerate. 48 seconds flat. Easy fractions for the very classy Serena's Song, who is out there on cruise control entering the far turn. A half mile left, and she leads by 3 easy lengths and widening her lead as they round the far turn. Serena's Song puts her head down and goes to work. A 4-length lead, Lakeway second. Pat Day guides Heavenly Prize to the outside for a clear run, but in the meantime, Serena's Song has given them the slip. She leads by 5 as they will hit the quarter pole. Heavenly Prize is now advanced to second, and Lakeway is third as they turn for home. It's still Serena's Song. Heavenly Prize cutting into her lead as they come down to the final furlong. Still hand-ridden beneath Gary Stevens. Serena's Song, the lead's down to a length and a half. Heavenly Prize coming hard, but the wire's coming fast, and Serena's Song still holding on. Heavenly Prize closing late. Here's the wire, and it is Serena's Song who holds on. Heavenly Prize was closing fast, but the wire came up first.
So Serena's Song was able to hold off Heavenly Prize to win the Beldame. She got the easy early lead, the slow fractions, and Wayne Lucas with the victory in the Beldame. He said his filly needed another race. He took the blame for not having her ready in Kentucky. She was ready today, wins the Beldame. Heavenly Prize closing but couldn't quite get there. Lakeway finished third. And for Shug McGahee, disappointment at this race, but now decisions to make. Heavenly Prize, will she go on the Breeders' Cup Distaff? Probably not the Classic now. And he has the Spinster favorite at Keeneland tomorrow. Inside information. Days of decision coming up for Shug McGahee. Complete order of finish in the Beldame: Serena's Song, Heavenly Prize, Lakeway, then Incinerate and Unlawful Behavior. So again, we see that speed is dangerous. Serena's Song making the early lead under Gary Stevens to get the victory in the Beldame. Can Lucas do it again? He's talking here to his jockey on Hennessy as we approach the Moet Champagne Stakes. Gary Stevens getting instructions. As we take a look at the current odds for the Moet Champagne Stakes, 1 mile and a 16th for 2-year-olds with that $500,000 purse. As you see, some long shots in the field. Crafty Friend has been scratched. The favorite is Hennessy, who is at 6-5. Diligence at 9-1. Unbridled Song 7-2. An intriguing horse. Maria's Mon is the second choice at 3-1. Hennessy and Maria's Mon are the two leading, at least Eastern contenders for the 2-year-old Colt Championship. Hennessy the pro tem leader at the moment, but if Maria's Mon were able to win this race today, maybe would take over temporary leadership with it to be decided in the Juvenile Breeders' Cup Day.
Well, it certainly would, but Maria's Mom has got a distinct advantage here. First of all, Maria's Mom is running on this racetrack, winning the futurity and running a mile. Now, Hennessy has run the farthest is 7/8 of a mile. He was very effective in the Hopeful at Saratoga, but there's a lot of difference between 7/8 of a mile and 1 mile and a 16th, and certainly a horse that has had a race over the racetrack has a distinct advantage.
Over the years, we've seen Wayne Lucas really clean up with his 2-year-olds, both colts and fillies. Is there a certain knack to training juveniles?
Yes, there certainly is. You have to really get them to concentrate and focus, and sometimes you'll see a lot of trainers that will have a 2-year-old that will run 1 or 2 big races and not be consistent. Wayne Lucas has a tremendous ability to have his 2-year-olds focused all the time, and every time that they come to run.
Now, you say that most of these horses, in fact, have not been this 1 mile and a 16th distance. As a trainer, how do you get an idea of those that will be able to handle the added distance?
Well, there are probably 2 ways, Tom. The first way is you look at their pedigrees. If their mother and fathers could get the distance, there's a good chance that they can. Also, in the morning, you're going to test them. You're going to test them with other horses and see how they do, not in the early stages of their workouts, but at the very end of their workouts, how strong they are when they cross that line.
All right, and the horses are on the track for the 124th running of the Moet Champagne Stakes. And number 1 is Gold Fever, owned and bred by Cynthia Phipps, trained by Shug McGahee. He has only a maiden win in 3 starts. In fact, beaten 6 lengths by Maria's Mon in the Belmont Futurity here. 2 horses, Devil's Honor, already has raced in New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Kentucky. Won the $200,000 Cradle Stakes at River Downs in Cincinnati. Number 3 is Sir Cat. Sir Cat has won 2 of 3 for Bill Mott, but this is his first stakes effort. Look for him to show early speed under Jerry Bailey, who is the leading rider at this Belmont meeting. And this is one of the few horses in the field that has been a mile and a 16th. Featherbox is number 4, broke his maiden at Laurel, hasn't won since, beaten by both Hennessy and Maria's Mon, trained by the great former jockey Angel Cordero, who made a brief return to the saddle in Puerto Rico a couple of weeks ago. Might ride again Breeders' Cup Day. 5, Crafty Friend, romped to a 15-length victory in his last race, a maiden event on a muddy track here at Belmont. A little tougher spot here for Crafty Friend. 6 horses, Hennessy. Trainer Lucas, of course, won the race with Timber Country last year. That colt went on to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile and the Eclipse Award as champion 2-year-old colt. And Lucas looks for a similar scenario here. 7 horses, Diligence, won his first race by 11. Then was second to the highly regarded Editor's Note. Should show some speed for Eddie Delahousie. Rides him for the first time. By the way, Diligence is owned by George Steinbrenner. We can only hope that the boss is a little kinder to Nick Zito, his trainer, than he is to some of his Yankee managers, although it could be a big day. His Yankees could clinch if they beat Seattle tonight. Unbridled Song, this has to be the most highly touted horse in America, but every time he approached a race, he had to be scratched for some reason or another. When they finally did get him to the races, he didn't disappoint. He won by 8.5 at Saratoga, but a tougher chore here today. And 9 is Maria's Mon, who could take that divisional leadership with a victory over Hennessy today. Hennessy beat him 6.5 in the hopeful, but then Maria's Mon came back to win the 1-mile Belmont Futurity by nearly 3 lengths on this track.
That's what I'm saying.
Wayne Lucas already has seen Serena's Song take the victory in the Beldame and still has a lot of ammunition left for today. In fact, earlier, when the 2-year-old fillies took the track for the Frizette Stakes, Wayne Lucas trained Golden Attraction was the favorite. The Frizette for 2-year-old fillies earlier today, and Tom Durkin has the call.
And they're off. Golden Attraction going directly to the lead immediately. Golden Attraction gets the jump on him by 3 lengths before they leave the chute. Thunder Achiever running second, and Mountain Affair is third. Flat Fleet Feet is fourth in the early going. 5 lengths back to Stretch running My Flag. Up the back stretch, and the favorite Golden Attraction free running on the lead. Thunder Achiever sitting second behind an opening quarter of 23 seconds flat. 3 lengths back to Flat Fleet Feet running in third. And then it's Mountain Affair, unhurried and in hand fourth. Another 3.5 length break back to My Flag, the trailer. There goes Thunder Achiever. Long shot Thunder Achiever getting a short lead with 5 furlongs to run, but Golden Attraction counters to reclaim it quickly. They ran a half at 46 seconds flat around the far turn. It's Thunder Achiever at the neck of Golden Attraction. 4 lengths back to Flat Fleet Feet running third. And My Flag is launching her bid now. Midway round the far turn. Mountain Affair has dropped back to trail the field. Golden Attraction has repelled the challenge of Thunder Achiever. On the outside, Flat Fleet Feet draws in closer. My Flag is now 5 lengths from the lead. Golden Attraction turning for home under a hand ride. But Flat Fleet Feet is closing in, and so is My Flag. They're coming down toward the final furlong. Golden Attraction, handwritten by Gary Stevens, a 2-length lead. Bailey's in a full-out drive with My Flag trying to get her. A 16th from home. It's still Golden Attraction holding on to the lead. My Flag coming hard, and My Flag will be second best today. Golden Attraction wins by a half length. A hard-charging My Flag was second under the wire. Flat Fleet Feet was there.
Golden Attraction, the leading 2-year-old filly in America, winning, paying $360 with My Flag and Flat Fleet Feet. The 5th Frizette win for Wayne Lucas, who is with Marianne Grabovoy.
Thank you, Tom. Wayne Lucas has been flashing his famous grin, and rightly so. He's 2 for 2 and now in the catbird seat. Now comes the class of his division, Hennessy. Wayne, in his last 4 wins, he won by an average of 6 lengths. but he's never been over a mile and 16th, and he's never been over this track. Any concern?
Big butts. Yeah, big butts. I'm concerned. First of all, I'm concerned a little bit, Marianne, on the 6 weeks layoff since he last ran. And then, of course, you know, the rains have deadened the track a little bit, and it's a tiring track. So those are big concerns. I'm counting on him for his class to maybe carry him in this spot, but it's a big concern to go from 6 weeks to this type of race.
Well, looking for win number 3. We'll sit and watch.
Thank you.
Good luck. And Tom, back up to you.
All right, Marianne, as post time approaches for the Moet Champagne Stakes, let's go to our handicappers, Bob and Mike.
Well, thanks, Tom. And after all that, it's tough to pick against Hennessy. This horse has just done everything right. You've already talked about it. We've all talked about the Lucas factor. Wayne Lucas has won virtually every important 2-year-old race that he's run in the past 2 years. He swept these 2 races last year, swept the Breeders' Cup 2-year-old races, came into Kentucky this year at Turfway Park, swept the 2-year-old races there, and he's already won the Frisette with Golden Attraction. I can't pick against Hennessy. He's just too tough for me.
It's Crying Poor Mouth, which is kind of interesting. 2 for 2 in the bag with Hennessy and Thunder Gulch coming up. Let's roll the dice a little bit here with Unbridled Song. A bit of a mystery horse. He's a son of Unbridled, who of course won the Breeders' Cup Classic right here at Belmont. Unlimited potential. He's only had the 1 run. That was at Saratoga against Maidens. He won off by 8. Since then, he's been working bullets at Monmouth and here at Belmont in the morning. And finally, well, I thought he was some value at the price because he was a lucrative 12-1 in the morning line, but somebody else likes him here at Belmont because Unbridled Song has been bet down to 4-1. Unlike our turf race, though, Mike, where we had plodding fractions, we're going to have very hot fractions, a lot of early pace here.
A lot of pace. That's why I like Hennessy, too. He has the ability to lay off of that pace. I don't think you'll see him. I think you'll see him land about 3rd or 4th, maybe even 5th early on. The main question is the distance, a mile and a 16th, but to me, he's proven it. He's won 4 out of his last 5, 4 in a row. I just can't go against the favorite. I like Hennessy.
Diligence will be up there banging heads. Don't forget Maria's Mon, who won here 3 weeks ago. A nice outside post. Lost to Hennessy at Saratoga, but favorably drawn today, and it should be a very interesting race. Let's go back to Tom Hammond.
All right, Hennessy, the even money choice. Greg McCarron, any problems at the starting gate?
And beautifully, but I will tell you that Unbridled Song, both in the paddock and in the post parade, was really on his toes. He's a big, good-looking horse, and like Bob Newmeyer said, not many 2-year-old works in 3/4 in 11. Back to you, Tom.
All right, Greg, Hennessy, even money with Maria's Mon 5-2, Unbridled Song at 4-1. Tom Durkin with a call of the Moet Champagne Stakes.
Or a long shot feather box. There is Unbridled Song, and he is a magnificent looking 2-year-old, but boy, they're asking a lot of this one today. He had but 1 race. That was 6 furlongs. It was a sparkling effort. Very impressive indeed. However, he's stretching out to a mile and a 16th. That is a giant leap for a 2-year-old from a maiden race to a grade 1 stakes, from 6 furlongs to a mile and a 16th. Here is Maria's Mon, who will rate just off the pace. An equipment change made that possible in his last race, running with a ring bit today, making it a little bit easier for Robbie Davis to rate his speed. They're in the gate. Ready for the start. And they're off, and Featherbox comes out first, but Hennessy broke alertly as well. And Hennessy goes right to the lead. Diligence will press the pace, and Unbridled Song is there too. Maria's Mon keyed up today. He's now 4th on the outside. Featherbox is 5th, followed by Sir Cat. 4 lengths back to the trailers, Gold Fever and Devil's Honor. Up the backstretch. And Unbridled Song. Mike Smith lets him roll. And with his unbridled speed, he runs a sparkling first quarter in 22-3. And Unbridled Song opens up by 5.5 lengths. A very ambitious move there. Diligence is 2nd on the outside. Hennessy is 3rd, 7 lengths behind Unbridled Song. Sir Cat is 4th with 5 furlongs to go. Maria's Mon has settled down now 10 lengths from the lead, followed by Featherbox. 3 lengths to Gold Fever. Devil's Honor at the back of the pack. Unbridled Song has drilled an opening half mile in 45 2/5 seconds. It was fast. Perhaps it was too fast because they're closing in now. Here comes Hennessy, the favorite, moving through an opening on the inside. Diligence is right there. Maria's Mon is 4th.
and strong and coming as they make the turn to the top of the stretch. The field coming past the quarter pole. Hennessy has seized the lead. Maria's Mon sweeping wide. Diligence right there. Unbridled Song is game in between horses. Those four coming to mid-stretch together. Maria's Mon under Robbie Davis going to work and has taken the lead at the 8th pole. Diligence is second. Unbridled Song is third. Hennessy is faded to fourth. Devil's Honor is fifth. But it will be Maria's Mon who will come on to win it. Robbie Davis gives him a little tap to say well done, and well done indeed. He wins by 4. Diligence was second. There's a 4-way photo for third. Unbridled Song set a totally ridiculous pace for this distance here, and he ran very well to finish about 5 or 6 lengths behind Maria's Mon, and a heady ride from Robbie Davis and a great training job by Richard Schussberg.
And the first Champagne win for trainer and jockey. Maria's Mon turns the tables on Hennessy. He's the new divisional leader.
We've been talking about this colt. You tell me you think he's one of the nicest you've been on for a 2-year-old.
He's definitely the nicest 2-year-old I've ever rode, and I compare him with a real nice 3-year-old named Gone West, and he's only 2, and he's doing the same thing.
Robbie, it looked like he just laid off the pace for you, and when you called on him, here he come.
He's really maturing well, Greg. I mean, he's just a sweet pleasure to be around, and every time I ask him to do something, he just goes on and does it.
Well, congratulations. All right, Bob, back to you.
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. With me is Gary Stevens aboard Hennessy, the even money favorite off the board. Gary, did you think Unbridled Song had a chance to wire this field? Did you make a premature move, do you think, on Hennessy today?
No, I don't think so. My colt was real fresh today. He broke actually about 1.5 lengths in front, and it took a little while to get my colt to settle. He hadn't run since Saratoga. He's coming off of a long layoff and run a respectable race today. First thing Wayne said to me when I got back after the race, he said, he's lost some time with him. He said, I'll have him ready on the day that counts. So not a bad race from him today.
And that's you pinned down on the rail with the green and gold. And is the rail not the place to be here at Belmont Park?
Well, I wouldn't say that so much. Probably right on top of the rail is not the place to be. But all day long, the track's been a tiring kind of racetrack. Speed hasn't been real tough unless they've been allowed some leisurely fractions. And it just turns out that the speed horses are stopping. They happen to be on the rail, so it gives it the illusion that the track's slow down on the rail. But I think probably 3-4 pass out the rail is a place to be.
I'm sure you'll be back Breeders' Cup Day with Hennessy.
Yep, I will be.
Gary Stevens, let's go back to Tom.
So Maria's Mon, a wavering monarch colt, wins the Moet Champagne in the colors of Mrs. Morton Rosenthal. Welcome back at Belmont Park, where the upsets just keep coming. Maria's Mon, second choice in the betting, wins the Champagne, 724, 83.80. Diligence was second. Devil's Honor finishing third. There's Maria's Mon, picture taken in the winner's circle, defeating Hennessy, so they now 1 win each in their head-to-head meetings. Official order to finish: Maria's Mon, the winner, Diligence second, Devil's Honor third, then Unbridled Song, the early pace setter. After that, in 5th place, Feather Box. Hennessy faded all the way back to 6th after getting through on the inside, and then Gold Fever and Sir Cat. Well, John Feets, another upset. At least Hennessy was very highly regarded. We heard Bob Newmeyer say that Wayne Lucas and Gary Stevens were plotting revenge for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Is it possible to have this bad a performance and then crank them up again?
It certainly is, Tom. You've got to look and see that this horse is not running 6 weeks. He's running on a racetrack that he'd never run on before. He was down on the rail, and I don't think I think that Gary was very kind to Belmont Park in saying that the rail was not dead. But we've seen all the riders that have done well today come out of the middle of the racetrack. So this horse has got 3 strikes against him coming into this turning for home. He certainly is going to be a better horse for it.
And Maria's Mon with a victory here over a mile in the Futurity, and now the mile of 16th Champagne looks to be genuine, maybe the favorite for the Juvenile. Well, down in the winner's circle, they're about to uncork the bubbly for the presentation. Let's go to Mike Battaglia.
Thanks, Tom. And representing the fine Champagne house of Moet and Chandon, Vice President Bernard Payon. He joins us from France to present the trophy to John Rosenthal, who's representing his mother, Mrs. Morton Rosenthal.
Thank you. Moet Champagne is proud to sponsor the 124th running of the Moet Champagne Stakes and to be a part of Breeders' Cup Preview Day. Congratulations to all the horses and especially to Maria's Mon for such a great race. You're welcome.
John, you have to be very happy with this horse's last 2 races in the Futurity and today. The horse has learned to come from off the pace and just was a huge effort this afternoon.
Tremendous. My father's been in racing and my mother for 50 years, and it's the best horse they've ever had, and they bred it.
Great. Congratulations. Back to you, Tom.
All right, Mike, send us a glass of that champagne. Maria's Mon wins the Moet Champagne. Still to come, the Gold Cup. Later in the Breeders' Cup Classic, a battle for Horse of the Year. Bill Mott and Cigar. Wayne Lucas and Thunder Gulch. Which one will prevail? So the challenge is set in the Jockey Club Gold Cup over 1.25 miles. The purse $750,000. And here are the odds. Dernier Empereur 26-1. Thunder Gulch right now is at 8-5. Star Standard 3-year-old 19-1. Cigar the 3-5 favorite. Jed Forrest 41-1. Concern scratched after running last night in the Meadowlands Cup and finishing third. Concern last year's Breeders' Cup Classic winner. And you know, John Veach, I really didn't expect this confrontation to occur until the Breeders' Cup Classic. What is the advantage for Wayne Lucas in joining the battle with Cigar now?
Well, the main advantage is if he wants to be Horse of the Year, he's got to win or do very well today, and he's going to have 2 shots to do it if he runs here and then runs in the Breeders' Cup Classic. The thing is that his horse did not put in as a convincing performance the last time he ran as he has in the past. Now, whether he's a bit over the top or whether he needed that race to be at the very top and needs this race today, again, to bridge that gap to the Breeders' Cup is tough to say. But Wayne Lucas has got to do very well with this horse today to even be in the running at all for the Horse of the Year honors.
Well, of course, this is the weekend for Breeders' Cup prep races at Keeneland in Kentucky, and certainly on the West Coast at Santa Anita. Now, the last major West Coast prep for the Breeders' Cup Classic comes up at that beautiful track today, the Goodwood Handicap, featuring Soul of the Matter, Tinner's Way, Alphabet Soup, and others. And let's take a look at the odds at Santa Anita for the Goodwood Handicap. As you see the San Gabriel Mountains in the background of this beautiful Southern California track. And we're still waiting the odds, and there we go. All right, the race over 1 1/8 miles, $250,000 purse. Soul of the Matter at 9-5. Tinner's Way, 2-time winner of the Pacific Classic at Del Mar, is 3-2. Lycatil Hill 13-1. Alphabet Soup 5-2. And as you see, the horses there are approaching the starting gate. We've been having a little bit of audio difficulty. Let's see if we can reach Trevor Denman, track announcer at Santa Anita. Trevor, can you hear us?
Sure can, Tom. Hopefully you can hear me. They're at the gate right now for our Goodwood Handicap. 5 of them about set to load, and the last click of the board, late money is coming in for this horse right here, Soul of the Matter. He's down to 8-5 right now and might go off as favoritism over this guy, Tinner's Way, who's loading in. They're both 8-5, just a few $100 separating them in the wagering. Soul of the Matter looking absolutely impeccable today. Tinner's Way might have been better in the Del Mar Pacific Classic than he looks today. So looks-wise, I think you have to lean towards Soul of the Matter, and that's probably where this late flood of money is coming in on Soul of the Matter. Lycatil Hill's gone in, and Alphabet Soup second last. Lufia Fever loads. They're all set. Deal for the Goodwood Handicap sent on their way. Alphabet Soup, a little skip at the start, but settles down quickly to go to the lead. Lufia Fever is taken back up alongside of him. Those two go away to lead by 3. Lycatil Hill is racing third, and Soul of the Matter gets off the rail in fourth. And Tinner's Way is the trailer. He's 6 lengths off the leaders. They run to these 7/8s, and now Lufia Fever out where he likes to be, leading them, but he's not flying at all. He's taking them along slowly. The grey Alphabet Soup just loping along on his inside. Lycatil Hill is in third. Kentis Ormo has Soul of the Matter racing in fourth, 4 lengths off the leaders and a length back to Tinner's Way, the trailer. They've run past the 3/4 pole, and it's still Lufia Fever getting away a length and a half now, but still not in much of a hurry. Alphabet Soup is down at the rail, and Lycatil Hill alongside of him. Soul of the Matter quite happy with his position in fourth. He's 3.5 off that leader, and it's a length back to Tinner's Way. The 5 runners pretty closely bunched with a half-mile to go in the Goodwood Handicap, but still Lufia Fever, the leader by just over a length. Alphabet Soup is the grey, and Lickertal Hill on his outside. Soul of the Matter and Tinner's Way are the last pair, but they only 4 lengths off the leaders. Past the 3/8 pole, and now the pressure has turned on Luthier Fever, Lickertal Hill and Alphabet Soup. Soul of the Matter's been kept in behind horses in the blue colours. He's going to wait for a home run, and Tinner's Way got nowhere to go. Fuller run, Tinner's Way just looking to pick a hole. The 5 of them bunch up at the top of the lane. Lickertal Hill on the outside. Alphabet Soup is the great. Tinner's Way going to scrape the paint and go through, and here's Soul of the Matter on the outside. 5 of them in a straight line with a 16th to go. Soul of the Matter on the grandstand side. Tinner's Way at the rail. They're going to hit the wire together. Soul of the Matter, Tinner's Way, so close, could go either way. Soul of the Matter or Tinner's Way, then Alphabet Soup, Luthier Fever, and Lickertal Hill a close 5th, but last.
All right, Trevor Denman, thank you for the call. We'll look forward to seeing you Breeders' Cup Day when you join us. Tinner's Way getting through on the inside. Corey Nakatani, America's leading jockey who's been in Europe recently, blasts through that hole on the inside and appears headed to victory. But just on the outside, Soul of the Matter finally gets it in gear late. Here he comes into your picture on the outside. They were right together on the tote board, right together at the finish of the Goodwood. Tinner's Way and Corey Nakatani on the inside. Kent DeSormo and Soul of the Matter on the outside. Tough to call. Trevor couldn't call it. I wouldn't attempt to. 2 horses that off that race could be a factor. Breeders' Cup Classic.
They certainly could. Coming from California, those 2 horses are very, very tough. And today we'll decide which horses will be here from the east to meet them. But that was a big effort, particularly Tinner's Way, bullying his way on the inside like that. Takes a lot of courage, and certainly there's a horse to be reckoned with. Every time that he's run through the summer and through the fall here, he's been right there, Tom.
We'll give you the results, of course, when we get them from Santa Anita. Meanwhile, in the paddock, Wayne Lucas planning strategy with Gary Stevens for Thunder Gulch, and Bill Mott readying Cigar for the battle with his 3-year-old adversary in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. As we approach the Jockey Club Gold Cup, the highlight of our coverage today, and still awaiting word of that tight finish at Santa Anita between Soul of the Matter and Tinner's Way in the Goodwood handicap. A race right to the wire, too close to call, and we're awaiting the result of the photo. Jockey Club Gold Cup, a historic race, and based in New York, of course, you appreciate this race. Its distance has changed a bit over the years, but still maybe not quite as important as it was with the advent of the Breeders' Cup, but one of America's great races.
Right, it always has been, and as you said, Tom, that with the advent of the Breeders' Cup, this race is not taking a back seat by any means, but this used to be the definitive race of the racing season, and everybody that was anybody wanted to win the Jockey Club Gold Cup, and sometimes it was 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles, 1.5 miles and 3/8 even.
Let's take a look at the odds now for the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Golden Larch, longest shot on the board, 65 to 1. Junior Emperor, 27 to 1. Thunder Gulch is at 2 to 1 now. 2 to 1 on Thunder Gulch. Cigar remains the favorite at 2 to 5. Star Standard at 19 to 1. And Jed Forrest, another long shot, as you see. This is traditionally when 3-year-olds take on the older horses. Who has the advantage? The 3-year-olds do get a 5-pound weight break. Is that enough in the fall of the year?
It is very tough for it. You have to be a very good 3-year-old to be able to participate and compete and be victorious against these hard veteran handicap horses. Some of them 4, some of them 5, even 6 and 7 years old. This is a high water mark for most 3-year-olds. They never get past it. The thing that they must do to win here is be the best, and then they join that pantheon of the great 3-year-olds. If they can't beat the older handicap horses this time of year, a lot of times they're forgotten.
And speaking of great, that's what Cigar is striving to be, mentioned among racing's all-time greats. Johnny hasn't carried weight, which one of the greats did over the years, but really and truly in racing nowadays, nobody carries much weight. I find that hard to hold against him.
Well, that's true. Nobody carries the weight that they did in the old days. You don't have to, because now there's so many alternatives. There are big races every place, and everybody wants a big star, so they're not going to penalize them with a lot of heavy weight. And certainly, Cigar has done everything it's been asked of him over every surface. He certainly is an amazing horse since he's come back to the dirt with 10 consecutive wins. Thunder Gulch is going to have his work cut out for him today.
All right, horses on the track for the Gold Cup. Golden Larch, a real long shot. There is Unaccounted For, who won the Whitney handicap at Saratoga, gets Lasix for the first time, which is now legal in New York, by the way. 3-horse Dernier Empereur, based in France, trained with the great Andre Fabre, ran in the Breeders' Cup Classic, you may remember last year, but hit the inside rail and lost all chance. He's 1 for 4 this year. Thunder Gulch is number 4, gritty, competitive, always right there. Any other season, he'd be a shoo-in for Horse of the Year after taking the Florida Derby, the Kentucky Derby, the Belmont Stakes, the Swaps, and the Travers. Lucas thought he needed another tightener after a dull race in Kentucky last time out. Star Standard, another 3-year-old, getting 5 pounds in the weight. Been chasing Thunder Gulch all year. He's 0 for 4 against him, and Cigar beat him 2 in the Woodward. This horse, though, could set the pace today. And the 6 horse is Cigar. Running style, able to win at different distances, different tracks. Bailey and Mott have had a beautiful run with him, 10 straight. And get all your Cigar sayings ready. The headline Rider's Delight. He's the favorite today. And completing the field, number 7 is Jed Forrest, has raced exclusively in Panama. Winning 4 of 5 this year, he would be an absolute shocking winner at 41-1 here in the Gold Cup. Well, Cigar and Thunder Gulch, it seems to come down to those two. Let's get the opinion of our experts, Bob and Mike.
Well, I think that a point that racing fans can follow the strategy between the jockeys. Jerry Bailey on Cigar and, of course, Gary Stevens on Thunder Gulch. A chess match to be sure. Where do they position their horses behind Star Standard, who should be on the lead? My vote, I'm not a smoker, but I'd have a Red Auerbach Cigar lit up already. I think this horse is remarkable. I think over the last 20 years, I think he's the best horse since Seattle Slew and Affirm, no question about it. The push-button style. Jerry can do anything he wants. He can put him on the lead. He could sit him off a pace. That's where I think you'll see him today. His impeccable record, 10 straight, accumulative lengths 45, average winning margin 4.5 lengths, and he's run this skein on 6 different racetracks. A remarkable racehorse. Cigar, the favorite today.
Well, you know, Cigar is the favorite, but we can't look past Thunder Gulch. I mean, this was one heck of a 3-year-old. He's going to be the 3-year-old champion no matter what. This horse has won the Derby, the Belmont, the Travers. He's just done everything that you could ask of a 3-year-old. He also has won on 6 different racetracks, including Turfway Park last time, where he beat older horses for the first time. He's 2 for 2 at 1 1/4. This is a fantastic 3-year-old, and after saying all this, I agree with you, Bob. I like Cigar.
I'll tell you a funny story. 1 year ago, last year, I needed Cigar in the pick 6. It was a turf race here at Belmont Park. I'll never forget it. He ran 3rd that day. Since then, Bill Mott's put him on the dirt, and he's won 10 in a row, and I was there for the funeral and missed the wedding, as usual. Let's go back to Tom.
As usual. Well, it looks like our experts are about to light up Cigar. Wasn't he serene in the post-parade? So calm, as Bob said, push-button style. Well, who knows these 2 great horses better than their jockeys? California-based Gary Stevens rides Thunder Gulch, guiding him to victory in 2/3 of the Triple Crown. Jerry Bailey, king of New York, has been astride Cigar during a 10-race winning streak, inhaling the competition in a quest for greatness.
I think Cigar was destined to be a great horse from the day he was born. Unfortunately, horses can't talk, and he couldn't tell anybody that he wanted to run on the dirt and not the grass. Only through his abilities and his races has he been able to tell people, give me the dirt, give me the dirt.
He is a fighter. He's willing to take on all adversaries, any competition that wants to come at him. He doesn't back down. He loves a battle, and that's what Thunder Gulch is all about.
Thunder Gulch is a very, very gritty campaigner. He fights hard in every one of his races, but he doesn't scare me. I respect him. I have a healthy respect for him for the horses he's beaten and the amount of times that he's won. But Cigar is an awful tough customer, and he makes pretty short work of most of the horses he's been against.
Jerry has every right to be very confident, and I guess I'm pretty much in the same boat as Jerry is. I'm not nervous right now by any means. I have nothing but confidence in Thunder Gulch.
Well, I hate to jinx myself in any fashion because of Thunder Gulch's record. He's done very well, but deep in my gut, I don't think he's in the same category as Cigar.
And there is a look at Cigar, the 2-5 favorite over his 3-year-old challenger Thunder Gulch at 5-2. Bill Mott with Alan Paulson, the owner of Cigar, watching his star warm up. Alan Paulson has owned so many good racehorses in recent years, but this one a real standout. And Wayne Lucas with Billy Reed, 5-2 second choice. Thunder Gulch trying to upset Cigar. Well, let's go back for a moment now to the Goodwood handicap from Santa Anita. You remember that tight finish. Soul of the Matter, who was closing on the outside, just did get up to win it over Tinner's Way. There's the margin of victory on the official photo. Soul of the Matter and Kent DeSormo winning the Goodwood by a nose over Tinner's Way. And we'll go for gold when we return. For the Gold Cup, 5-2 on Thunder Gulch. He's second choice in the betting. The favorite continues to be Cigar. He's won 10 in a row. He is at 2-5. Let's go upstairs. Tom Durkin with a call of the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
In the gate, ready for the start. And they're off. And Star Standard bounding immediately to the lead. Mike Smith wants him in front, and he's there, opening up quickly by 2.5 lengths. Thunder Gulch and Cigar are second and third. Golden Larch is fourth on the inside. Unaccounted for is fifth. 5 lengths behind the early front runner. It's a break of another 5 to the French contestant Dernier Emperor, and far behind is Jed Forrest. Into the back stretch after an opening quarter of 24 and 1/5 seconds. Star Standard has established a clear lead, but Thunder Gulch has his measure, and Cigar is right there in the clear and on the outside. Golden Larch keyed up on the rail, close to the pace fourth. Pat Day settles unaccounted for into a rhythmic beat, 4.5 lengths from the lead, and a big break back to Dernier Emperor. Jed Forrest far behind. The opening half mile in a comfortable 48 seconds flat. Star Standard Mike Smith nudging him along to keep him 1 length clear of Thunder Gulch and Cigar, who have been right together right from the beginning. And the field moving into the far turn. Smith wanting more from Star Standard, holding the lead. Cigar now moving into second. Stevens wanting more from Thunder Gulch, who's on the inside. Here comes Unaccounted For, putting in his bid. Midway around the far turn, Star Standard in front and still strong. Cigar tracking him intently. Unaccounted For is third, and a strong third. And Thunder Gulch has weakened. He's back and forth. Star Standard turning for home, coming wide. Here comes Cigar uncorking his rally. Unaccounted For third, and Thunder Gulch will be defeated today. Cigar explodes. Cigar opening up in mid-stretch. Cigar there by a length. Unaccounted For will make him work for it today. It's Cigar past the 16th hole. A length and a half lead. Unaccounted For second best to the sensational Cigar. One of the great ones indeed. He has won 11 in a row. Unaccounted For was second. Farther back, it'll be a foot over third.
Cigar smokes him again. That's 11 in a row. Keep in mind, Secretariat only won 10 straight. Cigar 11 in a row, convincing. Did you see Jerry Bailey look behind? Is anybody coming? This is a sensational horse. Cigar winning his 11th straight, 201-1 in the 1.25 mile Jockey Club Gold Cup. Watch it again through the stretch. The other 3-year-old Star Standard, the early pace setter, and he's hanging tough as they come to the top of the lane. But Jerry Bailey and Cigar have dead aim on him. Watch this confident ride. He's seen Thunder Gulch fade, and now he quickly spurts to the lead. There's the look. Anybody coming? Unaccounted For, starting to gain a little. So he pulls out the whip, a couple of whacks right-handed. Now the hand ride to the left hand with a whip to let him see it. And he hand rides to the finish for 11 in a row. Alan Paulson, his owner. Bill Mott, the trainer. They know he's got it now. Cigar, once again, is the best. Is he among racing's greats? Only the Breeders' Cup Classic remains to separating from greatness. In the gloaming at Belmont Park, where Cigar has just notched his 11th consecutive victory. There was $400,000 bet on him to show, and a minus pool in the show pool here. That means the track has to make up the difference between the shortfall to pay 5 cents on the dollar. Cigar 270, 230, 210, Unaccounted For, and Star Standard with the exacta paying $10.80. Let's go to Mike Battaglia.
Thanks, Tom, with Gary Stevens. Gary, you already won 2 today with Serena's Song and Golden Attraction. This horse, Thunder Gulch, he was laying perfect. He just didn't seem to fire today. Did he handle the track?
Well, he seemed to handle the track fine today. He came back very, very tired after the race. It's a tiring racetrack today, a very trying racetrack, and we're very disappointed in the way that he ran, but you've got to take your hat off to Cigar. He's a champion. We came onto his racetrack. He did what he's been doing all year long. We were no match for him. I guess we'll try him again at the end of the month in the Breeders' Cup. Hopefully we got a little fitness off of this race and make a little more of a contest next time.
You think he did move forward a little bit off of this race today?
He's got to move forward off of today's race. Believe me, when he came back, he was very, very tired. He didn't put in his normal fight that he usually does. I was beaten turning into the far turn. I knew that I didn't have enough force underneath me to get the job done today, and when I pushed the button, he didn't give me any response at all, and he's a very intelligent colt, and he more or less just took care of himself, and I guess he is saying just wait for another day, Jock, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll look for you again in the Breeders' Cup, Gary. Thanks a lot. Back to you, Tom.
All right, Mike, here's the official order of finish. Cigar, the winner, unaccounted for second. Star Standard held on for third. Then Durnay Emperor, Thunder Gulch finishing fifth. Jed Forrest sixth, and Golden Larch seventh and last. And John Beach, if you're Wayne Lucas, the trainer of Thunder Gulch, do you come back in the Classic?
Oh, I think you have to. Certainly to get some revenge, also to reestablish your horse that you're very proud of. Here's a horse that's run some super races, the Derby, the Belmont, the Travers. He certainly deserves another shot at these big boys.
We'll be back with more comments from Belmont Park.
And Bob
Newmeyer's with winning jockey Jerry Bailey.
And the first time Jerry Bailey has won the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Jerry, congratulations. Were you surprised how you were able to blow Thunder Gulch off the track today?
Not particularly. Cigar's been doing that to horses all year long, and Thunder Gulch didn't seem to be any different than the rest of them. He didn't handle the track particularly well, but he won in spite of it. Thought it was a good race for him.
So you put Thunder Gulch away, and now you're back in 3 weeks for the BC Classic. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I hope it doesn't rain.
Winning rider Jerry Bailey. Tom?
All right, Bob, there's nothing better at the end of the day than a fine cigar. Hope you'll join us 3 weeks from today from Belmont Park for Breeders' Cup Day itself. 7 races, $10 million on the line then. For now, this is Tom Hammond for Tom Durkin, John Beach, Bob Newmeyer, Mike Battaglia, and Greg McCarran, and Marianne Grabavoy saying so long from Belmont Park in New York.